Now, the deadline at 5 o'clock today passed for people to have their final say on compensation. Residents affected by the second phase of the government's high-speed rail line had until today to make any complaints. The Exceptional Hardship Fund offers eligible homeowners the chance to sell their property to HS2 at market value. But if you were listening earlier today on BBC Commentary in Warwickshire, we were hearing from Richard Burridge, who sold his house in Middleton through phase 1 of the scheme. He says he thinks that he's lost thousands of pounds because of this process.
When they made the offer to me, I said, well, I'm going to get my own valuers in. And I paid to get 2 RICS valuers in, one from Lichfield and one from Sutton Coldfield.
Yes.
And they came out with a figure that both of them, as it happens, were exactly the same. And they were 30,000 plus more than the average that they were offering me. My own estate agent, his price obviously was given to me 3 years earlier, but I asked him to judge his price again and be very pessimistic. And he said, well, probably since in 3 years the price has come down about 5%. So that made him about £50,000 more than their price.
Richard Burridge in Middleton in North Warwickshire talking to Shane O'Connor at breakfast time this morning. Shane also spoke to the head of land and property for HS2 Ltd, Liz Hurst, and here's how she's responded to the points that Richard brought up there.
Well, the exceptional hardship scheme that we've got in place for phase 1, so that's for the West Midlands going south down to London, it is a discretionary scheme. I mean, people apply to us if they want us to buy their property. And we think that's been working reasonably well. We've had 113 successful applicants. And in fact, I had an email from some applicants the other day who were very happy with the way that they'd been dealt with and the offer that they got.
OK, well, let's hear from Alastair Frew. He's partner at Stratford-upon-Avon-based Lodders Solicitors. He's also an HS2 specialist. Hello, Alastair.
Hello, Phil.
I don't know whether HS2 specialist is something we want to sort of champion or not, really, because it sounds like it's a bit of a minefield, doesn't it?
Well, it is a minefield. It's one of the government's flagship strategies. Clearly, we don't support it or object to it, but it's certainly there, and it's certainly not going away.
Yeah, I mean, you've been warning, haven't you, that actually for some of these people, compensation could take, well, as long as 10 years to be realised. Why is that?
Well, the government have set up a number of different schemes. I mean, basically, if they take your land from you, they will pay you for it at what they declare to be market value. I understand on your... you mentioned some of your earlier listeners disputing what market value is. That's the compulsory purchase which is coming up in the next couple of years. At the moment, you can either claim under this exceptional hardship scheme, which only applies if you have both hardship and it is exceptional. And that's why the government can slam the door in almost everyone's face. They say 113 people have come through, but several hundred have failed to get a single penny. But the 10 years thing is, if you are just an inch further away from the line than the government draws its big red mark on the map, you get not a penny. When the line has been built and open and running, you can go back to them and say, look, it's ruining our lives. We can't sleep at night. The windows are rattling. And they'll come round and they'll offer you double glazing or a few quid here and there for disturbance and so on.
So, and which on the one hand you can understand the government's position. How will we know how much disruptive this will be until we built the line? That doesn't help you as a resident, though, does it?
No, that's
when
right.
The time comes, deciding, oh, well, I'm going to have to sell my house because this is really ridiculous. I can't live like this. By which point, of course, it's too late, really, isn't it?
I think the point for many people, clients of ours, up and down the route of the line is it's already too late. The route from London to Birmingham is now fixed, although there's always possibilities to try and negotiate a few feet here and a few feet there. If you find yourself just outside the area that the government will take from you, you might want to be put into that zone. At least you'll get bought out. Moving further north, the Lichfield area and so on, that route won't even be set in stone for another couple of years. The railway won't be built until the 2030s. So if you're 100 metres from the line of the route, basically you're stuck until 2035. And I wouldn't buy your house now, and I'm sure that no one else would.
And that obviously is a long-term problem, isn't it, for many Warwickshire landowners? I know many of whom you represent,
yes.
Alastair. Is it fair to say that this compensation scheme isn't really working then?
It isn't really working. We understand that the government is not flush with money at the moment, but our friends over the sea in France tell us that when TGV was built, it was a ruthless process. It was short, it was fast, it was relatively generous, and it was all done. In this country, we do things differently, and it's taking a very long time. And people who've been compensated say that the compensation they're offered at this stage is it's just about enough, shall we say. It's certainly not generous. And for instance, one of the issues that upsets a lot of people is we know it's a railway line, but railway lines bring with them all sorts of other issues, such as roadways and pits where they have to quarry for materials, and camps where the workers have to sleep. All of those things can completely ruin your lives. It may well be an emotional issue rather than a financial issue, but if it's your home or your farm or your family business and you think for the next 20 years it's going to be ruined, that's a very long time for a family to cope with the disturbance. For a railway line that's going to go whizzing straight past their fence and is going to offer them no direct tangible benefit,